And as for the next big wide receiver prospect, Justin Blackmon, Oklahoma State.
What's the first thing that hits your brain when you hear a wide receiver, top 10 pick? My guess, for most people, it's diva. And based on recent history, it's probably not a bad assumption. But when you talk about Justin Blackmon, I think what's so impressive about him, Mel, is he's everything but a diva.
He is, and he'll block. He'll be the decoy. He'll be happy to do that. I'll tell you, Mike Gundy coached Des Bryant and also Justin Blackmon. When we asked him about who the better player is, who's a more complete receiver, he said Justin Blackmon. Now, he's not big. He doesn't have elite size like a Calvin Johnson or an Andre Johnson. Ran under 4.5 at his pro day. People say, well, he has to run under 4.55. Ran 4.47. Yeah, so at Oklahoma State, when you watched him, he wasn't caught from behind much at all. And when you think about a kid like this, yeah, he dropped a couple passes here and there. Derek Jeter makes an error every now and then. To me, he is worthy of being a top 5 pick, which he will be, and he's going to come in with the right attitude.
Let me ask you guys this, because in the past 10 years, there's been a lot of receivers taken in the top 10. And the jury's still out on A.J. Green and Julio Jones, but we think they're going to turn out pretty well. But really, out of all those receivers, it's Larry Fitzgerald, it's Andre Johnson, it's Calvin Johnson. Those are the guys who are the true franchise receivers. Where does that guy fall in with this guy? Does he compare to any of them?
Well, we do revisionist history. Brian Brillick always says that, right? Well, Larry Fitzgerald had his questions, and they had doubters. I had him number 1 that year. People were saying, yeah, he won number 1. But he went number 3 because he can't separate. He can't get open. He's that power forward in college. He's that power forward against collegiate receivers. He won't do it against the NFL corners. He won't get open. Well, he's a great one. And I think for Justin Blackmon, this is a kid who ran 4.47, had a spectacular career with Brandon Weeden throwing him the football. And I think when you look at his attitude and his approach, what a hard worker he is, he's passionate about the game of football, and he cares about his teammates. He's not selfish, and he doesn't worry about stats.
So when you talk about him, he sounds more like he might compare to Larry Fitzgerald as opposed to Calvin and
No, all 3 of those
Johnson.
guys. What do those 3 guys have? They play fast. They're not necessarily all straight line fast, but they play fast.
But Calvin and Andre are physical freaks.
They are, but what matters is what you are in pads. I mean, sometimes we make this underwear Olympics when we're looking at receivers, and what matters is your pad speed. And Justin Blackmon plays fast. Larry Fitzgerald plays fast. Those other 2 play fast. But more importantly, those 3 receivers you mentioned, they love football more than what football brings them. And that's what I'm hearing about Justin Blackmon. From his quarterback, Brandon Weeden, nobody knows the receiver better than the quarterback. Trust me, because we got to live with their high maintenance issues sometimes, but we got to trust them on 3rd and 8 to force the ball in there tight. And Brandon Weeden says this kid is the real deal, not just as a player, but as a person. That's all
So you're saying can't miss?
You would hope.
Okay.
That's a big statement to make about receivers these days, but that's why we cover the draft live starting Thursday, April 26th.
And we now welcome in Justin Blackmon's battery mate, if you will, at Oklahoma State, the quarterback, Brandon Weeden. So when they said first word that comes to your mind when you say Justin Blackmon, you sat here and said he's a stud.
He is. The guy can play. You know, he's you watch the highlights there, and just every play he makes, he's in one-on-one matchups. I mean, he's just that much better than the guy he's playing against. So
why?
I think he's physical, he's smart. I mean, everybody sees what he can do with the football and route running and stuff, but he's a smart player. And, you know, his ability to adjust and run routes the right way is pretty unique.
And he's not a diva?
Not at all. No, I mean, if you know Justin the way that I know him, he's not. I mean, he's one of those guys, he's carefree, he doesn't have a care in the world, and he's just, you know, a great teammate, but, you know, a great friend off the field as well.
Well, Mel Kiper Jr. so far has him coming off the board, number 4 overall to the Browns. And meanwhile, he has you coming off as the 4th quarterback taken in the upcoming draft next month. What are you anticipating?
Yeah, I don't really have any, you know, thoughts or worries, really. You know, I think it's all going to happen. I've been there before with baseball. You just kind of got to stay by the phone and just pray the one team will take a shot. And, you know, I don't really have any expectations. You know, I'm just really enjoying this process. It's been a great one. You know, there's a lot of stops along the way, but really and truly, it's just one of those processes you got to cherish and just be privileged, you know, that you're in this position. What
would be a good fit for you?
You know, I think a team that throws the football around. I think that's my strength, is throwing the football. So I think, you know, that's obviously, you know, something we did a lot at Oklahoma State, and I think that will, you know, translate over to the NFL. So, you know, I want an opportunity to play, and, you know, hopefully just one team will give me a shot.
Play right away? And I bring this up because of your age. You're almost 29 years old. Do you feel like you have a season or two to sit and learn, or do you need to go in and play?
No, I think, you know, I got to learn. It's another step to the NFL. I mean, if I have to sit for a year and learn from a guy, I think think that can only benefit me. But you know, I mean, with my age, I can't sit for 4, 5, 6 years and expect to play. That's just not possible. I understand that, but I think that you know, I have the ability to play sooner rather than later, and I've got a lot of football left in my tank. My body is extremely fresh, and I feel like I have a lot to offer.
Are there any teams that you've spoken to individually or that are possibly showing the most interest? Yeah,
I've spoken with quite a few teams, and you know, along the way, there's a lot of steps along the process that you got to do individual meetings and stuff with, and you know, it's hard to get a feel, but I've spoken with several teams, and I feel like everything.
The usual suspects who need quarterbacks right now, is that?
Yeah, pretty much. You know, and I know who they are. You know, I understand the process, but it's fun. You know, this is a fun process, like I said earlier. But it's you know, something you just gotta wait till the draft and wait to see who calls when your phone rings.
And I say the usual suspects. We've been talking about them all throughout the offseason. The Browns, Seattle is out there, although now they have Flynn, Miami Dolphins, and the list goes on. You mentioned baseball, and a team did take a shot on you. That was a decade ago. The New York Yankees drafted him in the 2nd round. You were a big, strong reliever back then, but played so many sports, and that was directly out of high school. How did the two draft processes compare?
They don't compare. I mean, football is so much more in depth. There's so much more background stuff that goes into it. Baseball is really and truly is can you throw it? You know, how do you project, 4 or 5 years down the road? And, you know, are you going to sign? If we draft you, you're going to sign. Whereas this process, you got the Senior Bowl, you got the Combine, you got the Pro Day. You got a lot of stuff that goes into it, along with, formal interviews. So they're both extremely fun processes, but, this is a big business, big-time business, and I understand how it works.
Do a lot of the NFL teams, when they talk to you or even other players, ask you about your time as a Yankee? And if so, what do they want to know about it and how it affects you?
I think most people just want to, again, know the comparisons. Obviously pitching in the minor leagues is nothing glamorous, especially compared to the NFL. But it's, they want to know stories. They want to know how everything's going to, kind of translate into the NFL. But it's, like I said, it's like apples and oranges. There's not really many comparisons between the two, but I had a great time playing baseball, and I really look forward to playing the NFL.
He was a 2nd-round pick by Major League Baseball and going to be up there in the NFL as well. He's Brandon Weeden. I think good athlete sums it up.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And you golf well, too, right?
I can play a little bit.
What's your handicap?
When I'm playing, I'm probably about a 3.
John Buchacross, see what you're missing? Good to
play a little bit.
Good to have you. Thanks. He can play a little bit. 3 handicap.
While you were sleeping, Magic Johnson brought the Dodgers, a group that